What if I told you that the quiet, picturesque moors of England were once the stage for a series of horrific crimes? Imagine a landscape of rolling hills and tranquil beauty marred by a darkness that lurks beneath its surface. This serene and seemingly innocent setting was the backdrop for a chapter of history that chills the bones, even till today. In the mid-60s, a wave of terror swept across the moors. Children began to disappear, their lives snuffed out in the most chilling of circumstances. The architects of this reign of terror were two individuals, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, who would later become infamous as the perpetrators of the Moors murders. Their names still send shivers down spines, leaving an indelible mark on the annals of true crime. This is no work of fiction, no tale spun from the halls of horror literature. This is the story of the Moors murders, a tale that has haunted England for over half a century. Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, the two masterminds behind the Moors murders, were not your typical murderers. Both hailing from Manchester, England, Brady and Hindley were products of troubled backgrounds. Brady, born to a single mother in Glasgow, Scotland, was adopted by a local Manchester family. His early life was marked by petty crime and a growing fascination with Nazi ideology. Hindley, on the other hand, was raised in a violent household, where she endured frequent physical and emotional abuse. Their paths crossed in the early 60s at a chemical distribution company where they both worked. Brady, the aloof and intellectual warehouse clerk, struck a chord with Hindley, the typist seeking escape from her dismal home life. They found solace in each other's company, their shared sense of disenchantment with society, and their mutual love for literature and philosophy. It was a twisted love story, one where passion ignited a descent into darkness, culminating in a series of heinous crimes that would be etched into the annals of British criminal history. As their relationship deepened, so did their shared fascination with violence and domination. Brady introduced Hindley to his twisted world of sadistic fantasies, inspired by his admired Nazi brutality. They began planning the perfect crime, a series of murders that would allow them to exert power and control, to feel the thrill of taking a life. Their victims were children and teenagers, innocent souls who fell prey to their malevolent designs. The couple lured them with kindness, only to subject them to unthinkable horrors. Their actions were meticulously planned, executed with chilling precision, and celebrated in haunting photographs and audio recordings. This was not a case of crime of passion or a sudden lapse of judgment. It was a deliberate, calculated act of evil, driven by a perverse sense of power and pleasure. Brady and Hindley were not monsters lurking in the shadows, but ordinary individuals who walked among us, hiding their malevolence behind a veneer of normalcy. Together, they committed atrocities that would shock the nation and leave a permanent scar on the community. Between 1963 and 1965, Brady and Hindley committed a series of murders that would forever be known as the Moors murders. In the span of these two horrifying years, 5 innocent lives were stolen, their futures cut tragically short by the chilling actions of Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. Each victim was a child or young adult, ranging in age from 10 to 17. These were not random acts of violence, but carefully planned and executed atrocities that showed a complete disregard for human life. Their first victim was a 16-year-old lad named Pauline Reed, who disappeared on her way to a dance. 4 months later, 12-year-old John Kilbride vanished from a market. The following year, Keith Bennett, just 12 years old, was reported missing on his way to his grandmother's house. Then, 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey was abducted from a fun fair. The final victim, 17-year-old Edward Evans, was lured to his death in October 1965. The methods used by Brady and Hindley were harrowing. Each of their victims was lured under false pretenses, then brutally tortured and murdered. The killers showed no mercy, no remorse. They recorded some of their horrific acts, a chilling testament to their depravity. But what gave these murders their name was not just the brutality, but the location. The bodies of their victims were buried on the desolate Saddleworth Moor, a place of natural beauty turned into a graveyard for innocent lives. This was a calculated move by the killers, choosing a remote location where they believed their crimes would go undetected. However, they were wrong. In the aftermath of their horrific crimes, the Moors became the focus of a tireless search. The police, aided by army personnel, combed the moors for any sign of the missing children. It was a painstaking process, battling against the elements in the vast expanse of the moors, but they were determined to bring justice for the victims and their families. The discovery of these bodies would lead to one of the most extensive manhunts in British history. The discovery of the Moors murders sent shockwaves through the nation. As the gruesome details emerged, a collective gasp echoed across Britain. The public, horrified and captivated, watched the media circus unfold. Daily newspapers, radio broadcasts, and television screens were awash with the grim narrative. The trial of Brady and Hindley, a spectacle in its own right, only further fueled the frenzy. The case struck a nerve, leaving a permanent scar on the national psyche. It pushed boundaries, challenging our understanding of humanity and our perception of evil. The Moors murders forced an entire nation to question, how could such atrocities occur on our doorstep? In response, the criminal justice system underwent significant changes. New legislation sprouted from the ashes of this tragedy, aimed at better protecting the innocent and ensuring such heinous acts would not be repeated. The Moors murders remain one of the most chilling chapters in British criminal history. More than half a century later, the Moors murders continue to cast a long shadow. The chilling tale has seeped into the fabric of our society, forever altering our perception of safety and trust in our fellow man. The enduring impact of these horrific crimes can be felt in the ongoing search for the remaining victims, a haunting testament to the unresolved grief and heartache that continues to echo through the decades. Despite the passage of time, the quest for closure remains a poignant part of this tragic narrative, symbolizing our collective refusal to forget those who were lost. Equally significant is the enduring fascination with the case. The Moors murders, with their disturbing blend of everyday banality and unimaginable cruelty, continue to grip the public imagination, serving as a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. The Moors murders, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life, remain etched in the collective memory of a nation.